Once upon a time, in a village called Guru, somewhere in Africa, there lived a man called Okuri Ajoki. He was married to a beautiful lady called Izioma, who died while giving birth to their one and only son, Ucheju. Since that death, Okuri had refused to remarry, believing that his wife died by spiritual means. He decided to become a spiritist so he could save others from such wicked ends. Okuri Ajoki came from a lineage of hunters who were revered in their days, and because of that, his lineage was considered one of the greats in the Guru kingdom. However, Okuri refused to follow in the footsteps of his fathers and now practices native medicine, an act referred to as talking to trees. However, he has not been successful in his pursuit. He spent most of his time in the forest doing what the people of Guru call itimp, talking to trees, as it is believed that every medicine man explores the forest with the ability to hear and talk to plants. That way, they can know what herbs and roots are needed to concoct a traditional healing medicine. The itimp is considered a very spiritual act, as the adventures of medicine men in the forest are often associated with stories of seeing and talking with spirits. In fact, the ability to hear plants is an act considered to be spiritual. Okuri's pursuit of the spiritual had made him leave his son to cater for himself from a very young age. Ucheju hunted to eat, and when he was unsuccessful in his hunting expeditions, he would go to the house of his friend Ikoma, the only thing next to family he had left. Ikoma always divided his food into two for his dear friend and gave him some of his clothes to wear. As their bond grew stronger, people referred to them as brothers, and they were always seen together, hunting and playing. Ucheju's father, Okuri, was now seen as a failure throughout the village, as he was unable to heal any sick person. In fact, whoever he treated died. The village hated him and blamed him for certain deaths, refusing to consult him during any case of illness. He was nicknamed a messenger of death, and his services were no longer welcomed. As a result of this, Okuri became very poor. He now left the village for the forest to escape the pressure and insults he received anytime he walked on the streets. Other medicine men called him a fool who left the path of his fathers to chart a new course that he knew nothing about. His extended family had left him to himself, as he refused every advice from them. One time, during an extended family meeting, Okuri's uncle, Agadigba, said to him, "Okuri, leave the forest alone. Do you think a timp is just carrying a raffia bag of nonsense into the thick forest and humming sounds you don't even understand?" Okuri's reply always caused a quarrel and forced everyone to go their separate ways, refusing to associate with him or his son. He would proceed to tell stories of promises he had received from the forest and encounters he had had, claiming that he was only making a little mistake and that with more trials, he would understand the forest better. This made Okuri hated and ignored by his family members. The sting of Okuri's name now affects Ucheju, as he is often in fights with other children for insulting his father. Ucheju was the only one who believed his father's stories, but in recent times, he is beginning to doubt, as the pressure from the community thickens. It had been months, and Okuri had been unable to walk properly. He had fallen ill after Itoa, a ceremony for medicine men of the village in the king's palace. A ceremony where they eat, drink, and showcase their findings in the forest. After the occasion, Okuri fell terribly ill and became quickly bedridden, closer to death with each passing day. Ucheju, now a teenager, took care of his father and had been begging him to consult other medicine men. But Okuri would often say, "It's a shame that I was not successful in my pursuit, but it would be worse if I couldn't heal myself. A medicine man that cannot heal himself is no medicine man. Don't pour salt on my injury by calling another medicine man to heal me. It would be better I died than live with that shame." However, after many days, Okuri's health seemed to be deteriorating. Ucheju, afraid of the situation, went to the king of Guru, Iziga VI, and requested help for his father. The king immediately sent the best medicine man to Okuri, but his condition had become too far gone for any herb, except by rituals, which King Iziga had sworn not to permit in his reign. Okuri was told that he had 6 months to live and that he should prepare his house. So, he called his son and said to him, "Ucheju, my son, I have failed in my pursuit, so much that I don't even have an inheritance for you. I am so sorry. You are a good hunter, but I want to teach you something, and if you perfect it, you would be great. Only promise me that you'd make this family great again, and clean the mess I have made to our name. Ucheju said, Father, I will not only make the family name great, I will put our lineage on the throne. You are an ambitious little man, says Okuri. May the forest be with you. I have one thing to give you, it is a song I was taught by a forest spirit. I call it the Oziba, a play with the forest. I will teach you to say and play the Oziba, and if you can avoid women and play it only with your hands so perfectly that it sounds like a flute, the forest will dance. And for the last 6 months of Okuri's life, he spent teaching Ucheju how to say and play the Oziba, until he did it so perfectly that it sounded like a flute playing when he whistled with his fingers pressed against his mouth.